Hello and welcome back to Open Comments with me, Ash. Today's guest is Stef Jacobs, OSDU Forum Chair. Thank you, Stef, for joining us today for this episode to talk to us about the OSDU Forum and beyond. To start, please can you introduce yourself to all our listeners, including your full role and what you do? Thank you.
Yes, Ash, happy to do so. My name is Stef Jacobs, and as of September 1st, I have been elected as the OSDU Forum Chair. I'm, of course, working for one of the OSDU Forum members, and in my case, that's Shell. And at Shell, I am part of the overall OSDU program, which actually applies the OSDU platform within Shell to its business, subsurface business. I've been at Shell for the past 13 years, and I've spent 20 years in my career in the industry, in the oil and gas industry.
Perfect. Now to start, please can you describe the OSDU Forum and its mission and vision within the Open Group and the broader energy data ecosystem?
Thanks, Ash. That's a great question. We just revisited the purpose, vision, and mission statement for the OSDU Forum. What we see is that the purpose for OSDU Forum is to deliver an open source standard and a vendor-neutral data reference platform that supports the energy industry. It provides the foundation for interoperability, and with that empowers innovation and efficiency and data-driven decision-making across the entire value chain for the OSDU, for oil and gas and the energy companies. It also enables advanced analytics and AI capabilities.
Thank you. Now, moving on to reflecting on the Open Group Houston Summit 2025, what were some of your biggest takeaways from the summit?
For me, the biggest takeaway was that we as an OSDU community now have alignment on what has to be delivered in the OSDU as part of the OSDU Forum in 2026. In 2026, we need to deliver the community implementation that is the coded version of our data standard, and that also is a neutral reference implementation and a basis for certification. Additionally, the data modeling group has to support the seismic interpretation workflows, and we have to take a first step on certification based on our standard. So those three elements that we have to deliver in 2026 and that we have the alignment on that are for me the key takeaways from the Houston Summit.
And was there a moment, demo or conversation from the summit that really captured the momentum of the OSDU Forum community?
I think there has always been momentum within the OSDU Forum community. What you see at the member presentation is that the OSDU Data Foundation is real. Operators are using the OSDU Foundation in day-to-day workflows, running their surface and wells applications on the OSDU platform, and actually are extracting value from it. Over the next few years, what we'll see is more and more of those use cases being shared, showcasing the maturity of our data platform and also the ecosystem maturing further.
Thank you. And moving on to the roadmap to 2026, when you look ahead to the OSDU roadmap, what are the top 3 areas of focus that excite you the most?
The roadmap in all right, the thing that excites me most is that I think in 2026, things will really become mature and robust. With the delivery of the community implementation, with the delivery of the data model that supports the seismic interpretation workflow, and with the delivery of self-certification, we will actually mature ourselves from a startup to a sustainable organization, which can provide the foundation, data foundations for the subsurface and wells workflow for the next 5 to 10 years to come, while becoming a kind of robust organization. It might not sound exciting, but it will be an exciting step that will provide the foundation for the ecosystem going forward.
Thank you. And how will these roadmap priorities impact operators in practical terms?
The operators will really be able to use the data that is stored in an interoperable manner in the OSDU Foundation in their day-to-day workflows. And that is really where, for the operator, the money is. By being able to actually more effectively run the digital workflows by applying AI and machine learning workflows on top of the interoperable table, it will become almost like a moot point. So in 2026, we will get to a point where the using OSDU will always become indispensable. The organization will be able to not run their effective AI machine learning workflows for the subsurface without the OSDU foundation underneath it.
And what challenges do you anticipate the community must overcome to execute successfully on the 2026 roadmap?
Over the past years, the OSDU Forum has built a wide range of capabilities and foundations that set ourselves up to become that data foundation for the subsurface world. One of the key challenges that we now need to overcome is that we need to find a way to run that foundation and keep that foundation evergreen, that the whole industry can run on top of that. So setting up an organization to sustain the standard, to sustain the community implementation, and to sustain the certification processes will be the key thing that we need to solve in 2026.
Now, as we switch gears to the journey to Venus, can you explain the journey to Venus and how it connects to the OSDU Forum?
So the journey to Venus is a stage where the OSDU Forum delivers that vendor-neutral platform to the industry. And so by delivering the community implementation, what we do is that we land on Venus. We have that reference platform that is the coded version of our standard. It is the reference implementation against which cloud providers can confirm or verify their products, their hyperscale products that they're selling to the oil and gas operators. And it also is a version that innovators can use to develop new innovations on top of, without having to use a hyperscaled version. So Venus sets us up to become the standard, which can be referenced and on which we can run our innovation.
And what lessons from the journey to Venus are most relevant to organizations adopting the OSDU data platform or moving toward standardized cloud-native data platforms?
I think that the journey to Venus showed us how we split between the commercial ecosystem and what we deliver as an OSDU Forum. We as OSDU Forum provide a foundation, and we should be very careful not to try to move into the innovation space and into the workflow space. We are the reference. So by having a reference that is independent from different cloud providers and different application providers, you really create an openness that allows you to drive innovation forward. At the same time, we need to also allow the ecosystem, the application vendors, and the cloud service providers to build their innovation on top of that. So for me, getting that balance between what is the reference, what is the standard, what is that industry standard versus what do you do in the ecosystem, That's for me the key learning that we have learned in the past 2 years, and which the people commenting on this journey should be very aware of.
Thank you. And moving on to OKRs, governance, and community alignment. You've mentioned before that the OSDU Forum increasingly uses OKRs to align community efforts. Why was this approach adopted?
It's a good question, Ash. For me, to describe why we need the OKRs, I typically use an analogy. I live in a little village just west of Delft, a city in the Netherlands. And if I would volunteer for the local soccer club there, the amateurs, the volunteering would be quite easy. If I offer to cut the grass every Saturday morning, they're happy to take my help, and they'll accept my efforts to actually contribute to that amateur soccer club in the little village of Den Hoorn. If you then think about a professional soccer club in the Netherlands, like Ajax or Feyenoord, if I would volunteer for that organization to cut the grass, the professional soccer organization of Feyenoord or Ajax will actually raise quite a few requirements. They'll ask me whether, when I cut the grass on Saturday morning, whether I'm absolutely sure that I can actually cut the grass every Saturday morning, whether I will actually meet their standards of the Dutch Premier League to cut the length of the grass to a particular length. They will ask me the question whether the equipment that I'll use won't damage the soil underneath it, and so on and so on. So what you see is that there's a difference in volunteering depending on the professionalization, the professionality of the organization that you're volunteering for. And as an OSDU Forum, we are providing our data foundation for very large corporations in the oil and gas industry. And therefore, we need to raise the bar on the requirements and what kind of contributions we get from the forum members. And the OKRs help us to define where we want to go as an organization, and therefore also to help us to define the requirements of the contributions that we're having. So by setting OKRs as long-term ambitions, we set out what we want to achieve as an organization, and with that also our ambitions for our contributions. So it is really about setting a direction for the forum long term and driving and focusing the forum to the right contributions and focus that we need to have.
And can you walk us through an example of an OKR the OSDU Forum has used and how it shaped priorities or delivered measurable outcomes?
A good example of an OKR will be the delivery of workflows. So one OKR is that as OSDU Forum, we want to be able to support first one, but ultimately 4, 5, 10 workflows in the subsurface domain. Mm-hmm. If you go after that OKR, it means that you need to exactly know what that workflow is. And in this case, our first priority in the OSDU Forum is the delivery of the data foundations and the data modeling and the community implementations supporting the seismic interpretation workflow. If you know that you want to support the seismic interpretation workflow, you define the workflow and then analyze what gaps you have looking at the current capabilities of the OSDU Forum. And when you then look at those capabilities that you're missing, what you then can do is that you can actually define how you solve those gaps. So by picking the OKR that we need to start supporting specific workflows in the oil and gas industry, and then start designing and implementing the process to actually support that, we are actually driving measurable outcomes for the forum.
Perfect. Now, before we close this episode, for someone listening who wants to get more involved in the OSDU community, what's the best first step for them to take?
The OSDU community is a community where everybody contributes to the thing that they do best. And so for somebody to get involved in the community after they have become a member of the OSDU group is to actually join a working group that is close to their heart. If you are passionate about communications, or if you're passionate about data definitions, join the working group and start working within the working group. So, and contributing to data definitions, so get involved. So it is all about finding that niche where you're able to contribute to the forum with your specific skills and your specific passion, and then get more and more involved and start driving there.
Thank you. And what's the one message you want listeners to take away about where the OSDU Forum is heading and why 2026 is such an important year?
2026 is a pivotal year for the OSDU Forum. We are moving from a startup to a sustained operation. We are finalizing a number of our foundations. A first version of the standard, a first version of landing at Venus with the community implementation, and starting our certification process. Once we get there, we will start to sustain those capabilities in the forum and provide the data foundation that oil and gas needs to run their day-to-day workflows, and also deliver the innovation that is needed for the efficiency to make the oil and gas company competitive in the long run.
And are there any events coming up next year that you would encourage people to attend to find out more about the OSDU Forum and the data platform?
The big event that, of course, is driving the forward are the half-yearly face-to-faces. In April 2026, we'll meet in Oslo. And in Oslo, we will check in where we are on this journey towards Venus and towards the delivery of the data standard, and then make our plans for the next year. It is also a perfect place to contribute in person to the working groups that we have in the OSDU Forum. So it is always a great energetic event where you can actually meet the people that you have been working with over the past half year. And I always look forward to meet the whole community there.
That's great. And thank you once again, Stef, for joining us today on Open Comments. It's been really good discussing the OSDU Forum, and we look forward to seeing the forum continue to evolve into 2026 and beyond. And to all our listeners, our Open Comments community, thank you for tuning into this episode. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we have, and look forward to bringing more episodes just like this one into the fold very soon. Until next time, stay safe and happy listening.